the other side of the glass.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our fourth episode,
Fourth.
fourth episode of Scoots Fridays. My name is Mac, and today we have our CTO Alwa and our COO Nadim with us, and we've got a really exciting episode coming up today. Um, the next 2 days are quite special for us. We will be unveiling the latest Apollo Pro V5 prototype walkthrough later today, so stay tuned and make sure you catch it on our YouTube channel. And tomorrow, this is probably not quite yet announced, the ESG review of the same scooter, the Apollo Pro V5, will be dropping. So a full in-depth review. They've taken the scooter, they've already put it through the paces, they've tested the top speed, the range, and everything in between. So if you're curious to get the in-depth review of the Apollo Pro, make sure to check out ESG's channel tomorrow, probably in the early afternoon, knowing them. So a lot of pro development over the next couple of days, which is really exciting because as Alwa can attest to, this product has been in development for the last 2 years. And it's just now that it's starting to see the light of day. So we thought an interesting place to start today would be to really not give away too much about the product that's coming out over the next 2 days, but really focus about what were some of the changes, the processes that enabled the creation of such an amazing, reliable, and high quality product. And of course, what we're talking about today is QC. So, Awad, do you mind just kicking us off and giving us an overview of what was the QC process like before the Pro and how did it evolve?
Yeah,
Today?
sure. So as many of you know, it started we're doing OEM product, meaning that it's the product of someone else. We're buying it and putting our logo on it and adding our little extra touch, like the grip tape, for example. And even this, at the beginning, we were the one putting the grip tape in Montreal on the scooter. That's how it started. And you can imagine that those people, they have, well, sometimes dozens of customers for the same frame. So they are in charge of the QC, and your power on in this factory is very limited because you are such a small customer. And even if you're bigger, it's they're like very proud. Usually it's their mold, it's their way of making it, and you don't have really any control over the quality of it, the quality check and everything that goes with it. Or they're gonna tell you, yeah, we're gonna do it, and well, they never do it. And quite frankly, they were also pretty good. The old model, like they by having dozens of customers like this, they produce thousands of the same model, so they are able to figure out a good process. And as also many of you know, we launched our own factory last year, and we so that means that we have to do everything ourselves. The SOPs, so how we assemble the product, the quality check of it, the incoming quality check, the outgoing quality check, the packaging check, the sub supplier quality as well. So we had to start from scratch basically, and we learned the hard way. The way that it's divided now, it's pretty simple. It's divided between internal QC, the internal audit as well, and then external stress testing, external testing, as we call it.
And what does it mean, internal QC?
Internal QC is everything that we do with our staff at the factory. So right now we have a team of 3 Apollo hired employees. It's our staff from in my team that are at the factory, and they are basically reviewing everything that the workers are doing. So we it's not just 3 people, obviously, that are doing the QC. We have 7 semi-assembly station as well. So but when you want to assemble a scooter, you don't just start with the frame and then you assemble the stand, the wheel, and part by part. You do semi-assemblies. So you're going to do the headset, for example, of the scooter. It's going to be one assembly. Then they're going to connect the headset with the throttle, test everything about it, and then it goes to the next station. Same thing with the front suspension, the rear suspension, controllers and battery, and the actual like folding mechanism and frame of it. And on each one of those semi-assemblies, there is a QC being done at the end of it. And then we assemble everything together and we do an overall QC. So this is when our 3 employees come into play. They inspect the overall finished good, and while the other 7 are just doing the semi-assembly one. So what does it mean? More in detail. Right now we have around 103 points of quality check, and people with the new production, they're going to be able to see it because we're going to be giving a little sheet attached to every unit that's going to specify the serial number, the manufacturing time, the person who inspected as well. So that's also good for internal documentation and even making sure that our staff is doing their job. Because if you see something on your scooter that is not right and they checked it, well, you can say, okay, well, Jack told me that said that it was good, so we can.
And that's a good point. I was just going to jump in because we've also gone through the experience with the Phantom where you had created a pretty detailed SOP document, but what we learned is that was actually not being followed, right? So just because you have outlined the steps for how to assemble a scooter properly, that doesn't necessarily guarantee it will happen. And so that's why what I just said, which is the fact that we actually have 3 of our own employees in Shenzhen in the factory that are not necessarily affiliated with anybody other than Apollo. So they don't have any bias. They're fairly objective. And they really audit what the contract manufacturer is doing for us. And that's how we're able to ensure that every single scooter that comes off the production line has been inspected.
And by default, the factory optimized for cost, and we optimize for quality. So it's normal that their own employee have a certain bias to let the little scratch pass the QC. We also do semi-automatic like testing. So like I mentioned, let's say the headset, now we have a little rig that you plug it in and it's going to test all the function automatically. Same thing for the controller. And we are gaining time like this, and it's also not prone to human error. So that's pretty cool. 2% of the production, if we make 100 scooter, we're going to take 2 scooters, we're going to disassemble it, and one of the 3 employees, they're going to check if the Loctite was applied everywhere. They're also going to plug the battery on the discharging rig and do like 100 cycle just to see if the quality of the battery is good, because it's hard to see from the outside, right? You don't know the cells are good and everything. And we do this for pretty much every component. Like the video we made here, we have testing factory. We have testing rig like for the throttle, for example. So every component is being put on a rig just to be sure that every sub-supplier is still delivering the same quality. So that's around 2%.
And the rig testing would happen mostly when you design the product and you're still testing the frame, or would it still happen after when you kind of enter the assembly?
When we design the product, it's really an extensive testing. We do it for 10,000 kilometers, and that takes months to do. It's really long because 10,000 kilometers put like a part under that amount of stress. It's just long, as you can imagine. It's a lot of repetition, a lot of mileage as well. So the one we do, it's less kilometers. We do like a couple, maybe 1,000 cycle on it, just to confirm that it's good. And usually a battery or controller, they're going to fail within that period. So that's what we do. We send also this team, the QC, the Apollo QC team, that's how I'm going to call them. We send them to the sub-supplier. So they're going to go to, let's say, our manufacturer of a controller, and they're going to go inspect the batch that they just produced, but also their outgoing QC to review, like, is it enough steps? And based on the issue, let's say we see that all the controllers are burning because of the regen, for example. Well, they're going to go inspect at the PCB level what burned, what needs to be changed. So having this direct contact with the factory, that's really beneficial for us.
And for those that might remember the Phantom V1 neck issue that we had, that was actually a really good example of why you need to absolutely audit your sub-component suppliers as well, because it was nothing that happened at our factory that contributed to this problem. It was actually the neck manufacturer, right? So their casting method it deviated from what the norm was, and that's actually what created a batch-specific issue that then translated into those necks being used in assembly, and then eventually those scooters got shipped out, and we had a problem. So following that incident, we started implementing really strict requirements for sub-component manufacturer audits as well.
Yeah, and we have around maybe 50 sub-suppliers, and as you can imagine, they only speak Chinese. So having a point of contact from my team that speak perfectly English and Chinese, well, it's limiting the amount of contact I need to have with them, and the mistakes are getting communicated way better than we could ever do. So it's really beneficial in that aspect as well. And also, every time any of you have an issue with the scooter, a part broke, we can claim it to the factory, and they're gonna refund us, send us a new part. So that's how we build a new contract with them. So it's in their interest to build the best product now compared to before. They were just putting the product in a container, and then it's Apollo's problem.
Yeah, that's like a bit of just incentives aligning, obviously really important. And actually, one of the reasons why we were able to expand our warranty late last year and cover more components was because we built that into the contract with some of the suppliers too. So.
And I mean, one more thing that's interesting to add, because it probably makes a few people wonder. You're talking about the factory like you own it, but then there's also a relationship that's contractual. So what exactly is the deal with our factory, guys?
So we don't want to own 100% of the factory, because it's an art of making scooter and managing like the BOM, the bill of material. Again, we have 50 sub-suppliers, but we have maybe 200 parts on the scooter, and we don't want to manage that. It's a whole business, just that alone. So we selected what we think is the best one, and we opened our own floor within that factory. So we paid for all the equipment, we paid for the salary of the employees, we paid for our QC staff, we paid for our testing rig. So that's what we call our factory. So it's a partnership with someone that knows how to make scooter. They make 500,000 scooter a year. So we have all that experience of it, but with our criteria, and I think that's how it's going to be the best match.
Yeah, we control the process of the way that our scooters are manufactured, but also leverage their experience more generally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we are also, that's how we can have also a great price with like the crazy components that we have. It's because we have a purchasing power that is much higher because we are with other people that also need cell from that battery factory. So
Mhm.
this is also a good point.
Yeah, no, thank you for clarifying, because I think a few people probably were wondering about, we have our floor, but then what's going on. So that was really helpful. And then tell us a little bit more about, how important is it to choose the right supplier for subcomponents? Like, does it really matter if you choose a good motor supplier, or it does not really matter? Like, where do you think the margin of error is the greatest? Is it during component selection? Is it during assembly? Is it somewhere else? Maybe it's the design of the product altogether.
It's definitely at the supplier level. The motors, once you assemble it, there's two screws. It's pretty straightforward to put it on the scooter, and we never see a motor just ripping off of the scooter. That's easy to assemble. But what is inside the motor, like the PCB, like the winding of the motor, there's probably 2,000 wind of copper inside. If one of them is wrong, or if they touch together, the motor is scrapped. It's going to lock on you. So it's really on the supplier level that it's the most important, and that's why we send our staff there to check their QC as well. Because if you fix that issue from the start, it's going to remove a lot of friction when you assemble.
And maybe in the interest of time, talk about the bit, like those are just the two phases of the testing, right? There is still a third phase where it's just an external testing phase as well.
So the two other points, the internal audit, which is really important too. We want to make sure that, because it would be easy for our staff in China because we have clear KPI with them. You have major defect, you have minor defect, we track it, and we have KPI. At the end of the year, we need to get under sub 1% defect within 30 days. That's a delivery, or even when we receive the product. So we hired someone. So we have our staff that is external from the factory, and we hire a consultant that is external from our staff, just to be sure that everyone is doing their job correctly. And those guys are incredible. They're going to go there and they are reviewing everything from the financial aspect of the factory, of our partner that we mentioned, to make sure that we are like with a solid partner that's going to be there for the years to come. They review the whole assembly process, the SOPs as well. They give their opinion on what could be improved. And those guys, they work with like Peloton, for example, with other big brand of scooters. So they have a really good experience in that. So that's with this, we just want to confirm everything we see with our team, that the data match, basically.
Yeah, we're basically auditing ourselves, which is really important at the end of the day, because it's the same thing, right? Like it's a question of, what we talked about earlier with the factory at least the factory where we buy some of the OEM products, they might want to pass things through QC because it's in their interest to save some money. Same thing for our staff. They might want to pass things because they have very stringent KPIs or something that, it might just be easier for them to let something slide. So in order to make sure, in the very rare case that something like that could even happen, we have this third party that's making sure that there's no reason for that to take place.
Absolutely. And then the final layer on top of this QC cake is certifications, right? So I see one of the questions here is referencing the recent legislative change in New York. I think what John Lee is referring to, and by the way, we will go through all the questions in a couple minutes at the end of the episode. But what John's referencing is that as of this is September of this year.
It's going to be in August. You need to be UL.
Yeah, you need to be, all scooters that are sold need to be UL certified. So what exactly is the UL certification, and are we doing it?
Yes. So UL, how I see it, I think
it was opinion, and then
UL, I see it as a little bit of a scam. There's only one company. UL is not the name of like a legislative certification. It's a company emitting a certification, and they are charging a bump for it. Like it's around, with all the costs, around $40,000 for one model. So imagine doing it for all items. It's crazy. What does it mean for you, the customers? because there is some benefit to it. They're gonna check every connectors inside the scooter, and it need to match their specification sheet. So that's good because you want on our controller, we showed it on the YouTube video, but we use the best connectors, but it's not like this for everyone. So when you sit UL certified, there's two UL. There's one for the scooter, one for the battery. So if we start with a scooter, all the connectors is gonna match their requirements. So that's great. It's gonna withstand the amount of current that it's gonna be submitted to. And yeah, it's just it's a peace of mind because you know that every component of the scooter is safe, basically. And UL, they go to your factory every 3 months and they audit the whole factory, not just that model, but the factory itself, because it's quite hard to get that certification to be sure that you respect it over time, that you won't switch the connectors again, and that the factory assembly process makes sense. It's really prestigious. And the second one is the battery. They're gonna take the battery, open it. They are inspecting the BMS, every cell. They're gonna go to the cell suppliers as well. They're gonna see how you are holding the pack together, the plastic structure, to make sure that the heat is dissipating. So overall, really expensive. It's good for you, the customers. For us, I already know we're gonna pass all of this. And I think it's gonna remove some players from the market, because if you don't have that, you cannot sell in New York, which is one of the biggest market.
And it's certification number, what, 15 on our list of certifications?
You have one for radio emission for the motors. You have one for Bluetooth. It's crazy the amount of certification.
So it's at this point, we absolutely believe in the idea of standardizing scooter manufacturing, regulating it, introducing benchmarks that are common to the whole industry. You guys will see there's some more content coming out over the next few weeks where we sort of get into the more nitty-gritty QC aspects of scooter manufacturing and frankly how unregulated it is. So we very much are proponents of standardized quality testing and certifications. However, the choice of UL specifically is sort of questionable at best.
Yeah, and not to go off on a tangent, but I think more generally, it's one of those things where we would hope that regulators are engaging with manufacturers and companies to really understand what it. Hey, this is I've heard of UL, so let's just go with UL, which maybe seems like a bit of the case in New York specifically. But in any case, I digress.
Yeah. So as you can tell, there are some strong feelings towards and about UL. Okay.
We're doing it.
Yeah. So the answer is, by the way, yes, we're doing it. So first of all, if you've already bought a city, or if you're buying a city today or something, you're not impacted, right? The change is only effective August onwards, and I think there's a 6-month grace period. If I don't.
The 6 months is ending.
Okay. So the 6-month ends in August. So basically, if you buy a scooter up until August, that's not UL certified, you're fine. And then up after August is when the UL certification needs to be available in press size.
But also, I mean, it's a bit tough because even from just an enforcement standpoint, they're going to open up the battery and check for the sticker. I don't know. It makes no sense. Anyway.
Okay.
Right, let's go through some questions.
Let's go through some questions. So when is the Ghost V3 planned to be released?
The date?
I don't think the Ghost V3 will ever be released, if I understand correctly.
It's only going to be an upgrade kit.
Yes, exactly. So, without getting into the details of why we cannot produce the Ghost with the upgrade kit pre-installed, the only thing that will be available is the upgrade kit itself. And to answer your question, the reservations will open up on, I think it's the 27th of. No, it's the 27th of April, yeah. So we're going to be dropping a bit of a video, a bit of an update on the 27th regarding the hardware upgrades that are coming. That's when we officially unveil the Ghost upgrade kit. That's when you can place your reservation. And then the official delivery date is approximately when, Noah?
Late May, June.
June to be safe in that case, probably.
A bunch of upgrade kits coming.
Yeah, so we'll get into that at the end in the kind of housekeeping items. But yeah, you can expect the Ghost upgrade kit to be available for reservations on the 27th of April and then for delivery in June of this year.
Phantom V3 hydraulic.
Yeah, I feel like we covered that last week, but how do you feel about the Phantom V3 hydraulic?
Not worth it.
Not worth it. With the regen is fantastic. I think ESG's they explain it pretty well in their reviews, so I would invite you to go check it out. But that's one of the reasons for the Pro, which is a super expensive product. We also don't put hydraulic brake, went with drum brake. It's because of the regen. It's just so good.
Yeah, just a superior braking system, to be honest.
Cool. So hope that answers your questions, Andrew. Curious Ghost V3, I think we just answered that. Please display a web page comparing the Phantom V3 and the Pro Final V6 feature for feature. Good suggestion. We can add that to the compare scooters page. Absolutely. Thank you for the suggestion there.
There's also ESG. When the review is going to drop tomorrow, it's going to be on their database, all the stats, all the specs, so you can go on their database and compare the Phantom to the Pro.
True. Oh, I want to take this one.
Air to put in the tires of the city 2022.
I think it's so don't put slime in your tires. It doesn't do anything with inner tubes. Yeah, so I would not recommend doing that at all. And how much air? I think it's 45 psi. Go check on the website though. We have it on the webpage.
Cool. Is
Pro
the
Beta.
Pro Beta? Nadim, you want to take this one?
Pro Beta, same price as the Pro Final. No, the Pro Beta is at a discounted price to the Final, and that's just because we have some requirements for everyone who's participating in the Pro Beta. They have to complete certain kilometers. They have to participate in user interviews, provide feedback. So there's quite a bit of work that goes into the Pro Beta. We really wanted to structure it in a way that made sense, and we were actually collecting useful information. So it will not be the same. And then in terms of exchanging the beta for the final version, no, but that depends on exactly what comes out of the beta program and what that final version looks like. We're really confident in the V6, which is the version of the that's in the beta. That is essentially the final production model. If there are any tweaks, though, I think we'll just follow what we've been doing since the beginning, which is providing those parts to those customers through an upgrade kit or something like that.
Cool. John's got a question about the City Pro kit, which has the hook kickstand, and I think what's missing is the handlebar, probably.
Yeah.
When can we expect that one?
Okay, so we are releasing a kit that's going to come to upgrade your City 22 to 23 and possibly the Air 21 to 22 and 21, 22 to 23.
Okay.
It's going to be a handlebar with the new throttle, turning signal, a new hook too. When you fold the scooter, it was always unlatching. So
Most requested feature.
Yeah.
Most requested
Turn signal
feature.
indicators on the handlebar.
Yeah. So and it's going to come with the new kickstand, at least for the City. The Air is good enough. It's going to be late June, roughly.
Cool. Yeah, and once again, John, so that'll be part of our hardware upgrade keynote. So stay tuned for April 27th. We're going to drop a video where Elwha is going to walk you through all the different upgrade kits we're releasing.
Yeah. Okay, is the Pro worth
Two Phantoms.
that much more than the Phantom?
Yes, yeah, it is. It is. And I think the biggest point, okay, they both go fast, they're both insane, but the biggest point when you unbox it, it's the quality of it. And you're gonna see it in the review tomorrow of ESG, but the quality is better than like the Segway GT2, which is insane, right?
That's not our words, by the way.
No, that's not our words. So yes, it is for multiple reasons.
And can you maybe just explain, like, why is the Pro so freaking expensive?
It's because we use our unibody frame design and also crazy batteries inside. But the unibody design, it's one piece of frame that covers the neck, the body, and the footrest. And that's really expensive to do. Usually you have just an extrusion mold and you slap plastic on both ends. For us, it's only metal. The only plastic you have is the little strip of light around it. And the rest is it's metal. And that's really expensive. The paint that we use on it is expensive. The battery 21700 Samsung, that's what you put like in Teslas, So all those little things add up and build to the cost.
No plastic.
No plastic.
Yeah, really, components are the highest quality. So if you're comparing spec for spec, it's not going to do it. But if you're comparing from a quality and build and durability of materials perspective, it's not even close. Between the Pro and the Phantom, and then even the Pro and anything else that is out there for the price.
And all the parts except the brake handle, which is the same as the City because they're so great, they're all custom parts. So we had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for all those molds. So we need the money back. That's why.
But in any case, I think like this is one of those things where with future iterations, price can go down, right? And
volume.
Exactly, and volume as well. So the more people purchase, the cheaper it can get over time.
And I think the final point here is just that we've been surveying our customers so extensively, right? And what we keep seeing and hearing back from the community time and time again is that the only thing you care about at the end of the day is reliability. And that is ultimately what gave us the idea of making a scooter that can last for 10,000 kilometers. So what Elwha alluded to before, that will be rolling out as a full-on program, is this notion of tested for 10,000 kilometers, right? Which is insane when you think about it. Vespas, like mopeds, seated mopeds, have the expected mileage lifetime of about 10,000 kilometers. We said, what would it take for a scooter to be able to get to the same point? So you can imagine the insane strain that it puts on the components, on the frame, the amount of testing we had to do to get there. And ultimately, it doesn't come at a discount, it comes at a premium. And so we made the conscious decision to say, we're going to sacrifice affordability and accessibility of this product in exchange for superior quality and reliability, in hope that what we learned by developing the Pro can later trickle down into the rest of the portfolio through the consecutive iterations like the Explore and the Lights that we're going to be releasing in 2024.
Yeah, and instead of replacing a scooter every 2 years, you have a scooter that can last a life.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the upgrade kits that we continue to release, you always have that compatibility with the newest gen, the newest models as well. So that's kind of where we're headed in that direction. Really quality and durability over anything else.
Absolutely. Guys, any videos of the assembly?
The assembly process, like maybe at the factory?
I think so.
Factory line?
Yes, but it's when we're going to be releasing the final product.
There's a quick walkthrough of our factory on YouTube right now. I think if you just go on our YouTube channel and you search for the Apollo factory walkthrough, you'll see kind of a high-level overview. But like Alwa said, the Pro beta units are being assembled in April, and that's when we want to document the process more extensively. Okay, New York City battery fires, we already answered that one. On a lighter note, as a Pro beta tester in waiting, I think a muscle car exhaust sound effect would be awesome.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to build an app within our app that we're going to read the current that we push to the controller, and we're just going to link a sound file of like motors to it that we're going to play via the Bluetooth speaker. So you're going to have that feature of like revving the motor.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Chris, thank you for your support. Guys, you want to take Patrick's question?
It's about speaking or producing a bit more content in French, I think. I think, yes, ideally we can.
Patrick is highlighting that in Montreal and Quebec, they speak French. We speak French. Everything that we do is in English. Yes, he doesn't understand anything, and in his word, so yeah, I think it's just we could talk in French. I'm obviously like a French native, right? It's just we have limited resource, and we need to answer, I think, our biggest market, which is an English market.
Right.
But yeah, we are well aware of that, and we hope, I think, as we grow, that we can cover this portion of the market.
And the website French version, is that something that we still have on the table? Yeah,
it's already live.
Okay,
well, yeah, our website is available in French, but maybe what could be interesting is saying, what if we did one AMA once a month in French, and we keep the rest in English potentially?
Yeah,
just a lot.
Me as well. Exactly. But my French sucks, so would you struggle to understand what I'm saying? All right. After inspection, you will be issued a sticker to show it's approved, and you can take it to your apartment or building. Is what NYC is doing, like a permanent registration. That makes sense. So obviously, with the UL certification of the battery, that's something we can provide to our customers, and yeah, with the sticker as well. I know that some customers have reached out about condo associations or offices mandating that UL before they even let the scooter in the building, which given the regulatory environment in New York right now around lithium-ion batteries, that makes sense. But for the time being, we can't provide that because we still have to do the test, right? So we're working on that.
And will it be retroactively? Well, I guess it's only going to be the 2023 models.
Yeah, because we need to switch the connectors.
Yeah. So Clint, did the city just get an update to 2023? There's going to be an upgrade kit. Yes. You said what? Late June?
Late June, yeah.
Late June. So following the trend of releasing upgrade kits, we're really excited to do that. Quelle est la différence entre le Mac One and VESC controller?
I would say go check out our controller video covering it extensively.
Love my Phantom. Chris, we love you. Smart Device City 2022 now, an upgrade when the kit comes.
Yes, you should definitely do that. You're going to get it at a cheaper price. You get it now, and they're already fantastic. It's just like a little extra touch that we're going to put on.
And maybe one point to add is, unlike the Phantom upgrade kit, which was quite an operation to install, the City and Air upgrade kits are one cable.
One cable. That's it. Two screws and one cable.
Isn't it the same as when you assemble the scooter at the beginning? It's the exact same process. Are you designing the fluid scoots?
If we were, they would look better.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, we love you, but that's a little insulting. But we know you mean well. So.
Hopefully no fluid peeps on the call right now. Est-ce que les clients pourront avoir le choix entre plusieurs couleurs? What's the issue with having multiple colors?
It's I think we want to have like we are limited, like we are reducing the amount of SKUs we're gonna have. Like we said, we're gonna have the Lite, the Explore, and the Pro because it's easier to forecast. It's also like when you assess capital, I guess to every model, it's easier. It's easier to control. It's easier for everyone, and we do like our color. Maybe it's something we could explore for the Lite because it's smaller. It's a different audience as well. You know, having like funky colors. We do have render of the Pro, for example, on the webpage that you see multiple colors. Yeah, maybe for the Pro, what would make a lot more sense though, because we're going with straight geometry now, it's doing a sticker kit that covers it, and then you choose, and that's way cheaper, and you can do like whatever you want with it. So
Colors are a little bit complicated for us at the moment. Yeah. Is the Phantom only built to last 2 years? How many kilometers is that?
I don't know. Right now, we built the process for 10,000 kilometers, like Match mentioned. The Phantom, we tested it, which if I had to put a number on it, I would say probably like 5,000 kilometers, half of that, which is still ridiculous. I know only one person that achieved that. But yeah, I would say probably 5,000 kilometers. So in years, it really depends on just how hard you ride.
Exactly. Any updates on the progress for the V360 Volt, or is there no plan on releasing it?
We are still testing it. Actually, we tested it this week. Reached 91 degrees in 58 seconds, I think. So it's not looking good for it.
Yeah, I think like we're still clinging on to hope, but it, like Elva said, it's not really looking good, and maybe we kind of owe to customers to let them know that.
Maybe we want to give ourselves a deadline by when we want to make an official decision.
It's increasingly unlikely, unfortunately, as much as we'd love to. New mileage range. What would be the new mileage range or battery watt hour of the City 2023?
It's a 20H battery. We're upgrading it again at 21700, so 960 watt hour.
Pieces on Amazon. I don't know. I don't think
Parts, maybe?
So
I think it was a suggestion in the previous session where somebody said, why don't you put up your inner tubes and like common spare parts on Amazon for faster delivery?
We're working on so many things. It's not the highest priority item for us right now. Amazon, it's an entire process through their FBA and all that kind of stuff. So it's maybe later.
And maybe is this a good opportunity for us to explain what the part situation is right now?
Yeah, we have a big shipment coming in. We've started replenishing. So I think over the next 30 days we'll be fully stocked for the summer. I know it's a massive issue. The A team is getting it's not great right now, the spare parts situation, unfortunately, but we are replenishing and resolving that. I know we've been out of some key parts for a while, so hoping to get those out to customers as soon as possible. New features of the app, probably it's a whole.
We're gonna do a keynote as well for the software. So check it out. We just posted the link on the Facebook group to download the new beta. So for iOS, so please go download it.
Teenager who would like to ride the scooter as well. Okay, the ability to have 2 profiles to set limits for a secondary profile. It's a really interesting.
Yeah.
Add to the roadmap.
Yeah, we're gonna add it to the roadmap.
No, thank you for the suggestion, Tommy. That's a really interesting idea. Unfortunately, not
limits exist, but not profiles, right?
Yeah. New accessory idea: a carry bag for the Phantom.
Yeah, so we did one for the Air before. Maybe I can post a picture on the Facebook group. It could be. Again, we're choosing our battle here. We have really cool accessories coming, like the seat that we posted the video. We have a new lock system too, but the bag could be a good one because even when you want to put it in your car, it is annoying for the stem to swing if you can't lock it like for the Pro. So we'll think about it.
Yeah, and send us accessory ideas. I think like accessories are something maybe at least for me, it's something I think we should try to offer more of. Get some more swag on those scooters. And yeah, I think thanks Chris, appreciate it. You rock as well. We did have some. Do we still have time for some of the questions we received?
Yeah, I think we may have answered a few of them already, but if not, then let's
upgraded suspension for the Ghost. If not, could I install a 125 millimeter shock with a pin to bolt conversion?
If it's already 125, I'm not sure what it is on the Ghost. It should fit, but keep in mind that the spring is going within the footrest and it's quite tight, so the diameter might be limited, but it should work. And if you put a hydraulic suspension, it's going to come with the little like a dial thing like we have on the Pro now. So this is going to be inside the footrest, which won't work. So try it, I guess, and let us know.
And then the next one is, since the City Pro hook cannot be locked, how do we prevent the stem from scratching the baseboard when it's placed in a car trunk? So that's going to be answered through the upgrade kit. We have a new hook which will not become unlatched, and we're going to eliminate probably the most annoying problem in the history of Apollo.
If you want to see what it looked like, Nazim just made a post 2 days ago, I think, with a screenshot on Reddit that you see what it looked like. There's a picture of it.
It's on Facebook as well. Question about the V3. When you set cruise control and then go downhill, does it keep the cruise control speed by automatically using the brake regen like an EV?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then there's some questions about the V3 upgrade kit from Blake. There's like 5 different questions. Maybe we'll tackle a couple. The brightness of the display seems to be dimmer than it was on the V2. Does that sound about?
It's definitely brighter, but you cannot adjust it like you could on the V2. It's always to the max, but definitely brighter. If it's dimmer, maybe reach out. Maybe there's an issue with your display.
Increasing the signaling duration on the turn signals of the V3. Can you have it blink for a longer period of time?
Not possible.
Unfortunately, not possible. App issues, discrepancy from the app Android version when paired with the Phantom. The real-time information display keeps saying my acceleration and braking settings are set to 5 when I actually have them set to 10.
So I would say change it into the app, and then on the main page of the dashboard, you have a little eye icon to the top. Click on it, scroll down, and you're going to see the deep setting. And that's going to tell you if it's just not the interface issue, what you see. And it's going to tell you the real setting of the scooter. Again, that's probably on iOS. So I would say go download the link that we posted this morning, try it again, and it should work.
That was an Android.
It was an Android.
Yeah. And take a screenshot and send Eloi an email so he can pass it.
I know on Android right now we have an issue that you cannot adjust the regen. It's getting stuck either at 1 or at 5, but we're going to receive the new software, I think, Friday. So by next week, it should be fixed. It's a quick fix.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for your questions and your engagement. It's been, I think, our most interactive session so far. Before we wrap it up, I just wanted to plant a couple of dates that are coming up that are really, really important to us. A lot of work has been happening behind the scenes over the last 6 months, and we have a ton of really, really great projects that will be announced over the course of the month of April. So we're dividing those announcements into 3 major ones. We're going to have a service keynote where Nadim will take you through all of the amazing servicing, maintenance, extended warranty, video support, phone support, everything that's been happening behind the scenes. He's going to break it down and explain it to you. Why should you care and what's in it for you as a customer? That keynote will be released on the 13th, the second Thursday of April. So stay tuned. We'll be sharing more details about that soon. The week after, so the 20th of April, Derek, our head of product, will be doing a walkthrough of the new app release. So as you know, we've been working on getting the app properly set up and published over the last few months. And there are a ton of great features that will be available to everybody. So he will take the time to really walk you through what developments, what changes, what improvements have been made and implemented and made public at that point. So stay tuned for his keynote on the 20th. And then last but definitely not least, we'll have Eloi on the 27th do a keynote of all the hardware upgrades. So as we've now mentioned a few times, there's the Ghost V3 upgrade kit, there's the City and the Air upgrade kit. I'm sure you have a lot of questions about, is it compatible with my scooter? What are the benefits? How is it going to work? So Eloi is going to take you through the details of all those developments. So really exciting month ahead of us. Stay tuned, and thank you all for your participation. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks, everyone.